Galimera, Galimera, Galimera. Good morning, good morning, good morning. And as you can see this morning, we had beautiful sunshine about 10, 20 minutes ago, and it looks absolutely glorious. So Jane got the washing on and got the washing out. Unfortunately, over the last 10 minutes or so, it's gone dull again. Thank you to Amanda for a concise weather forecast. She says, morning, Ginge. Today, sunshine with occasional thunderstorms. It's going to be like 18 degrees Celsius. We're going to feel like 17. Have a nice day. Thank you very much for that. Well, I'm hoping that the weather is going to stay as it does and we don't have any more rain because, again, the weather has been really weird. It's been up and down and all over the place. Yesterday, the weather was actually very, very nice. During the rest of the day, it was beautiful. But anyway, we're getting this occasional thunderstorms warning again, so we shall see if the thunderstorms arrive, yes or no. I know the other day it started off beautiful, thunderstorms arrived and I got absolutely drenched going into town. But anyway, that's by the by. Right then, let's have a look at the news this morning. There's been a lot going on within the last 24 hours. Thank you to all those people yesterday who were leaving comments and messages on my last podcast. I do appreciate them, actually. Keeps me on my toes. Also, again, people have their feelings on the situation, which can be different to mine. And that's what it's all about. The fact that we can all have an opinion, we can agree to disagree, which I think is an art that these days is sorrily, sadly lost and sadly missing from today's society, that everybody is sometimes too frightened even to have an opinion because they might not be conforming to what everybody else wants. So that's by the by. Anyway, let's have a look at the new infections in Greece within the last 24 hours. To be honest, it's actually quite good news, actually. Things are going down in certain areas, but obviously things are going up in other areas, and I'll get onto that as we go along. Right, new infections then at the moment are actually down on yesterday. Yesterday I reported to you 7,486. The day before that we'd had 6,677. Well, yesterday then, today's numbers are 6,196 new infections. That brings the total at the moment up to 945,095, of which 50% are male. Also as well, 3 new cases were identified after checks into the country. That again was down. Oh, sorry, that was the same as the day before where it was 3. Can I also say as well, so far of these new 6,196 new infections, there has been no word of the new Omicron virus as being part of those. Nothing has been said on that. So I can take it then that Greece has not had this variant arrive here in the country. Anyway, when it goes on to what's happening in the way of infections on the islands in the Ionian that I look at, because they're our neighbours basically in the area that we're in, Lefkada yesterday, for some reason, no infections at all reported after going through all the paperwork. Couldn't find Lefkada mentioned whatsoever. So I'm taking it that yesterday they had no infections, because on the day before that they had 3, the day before that they had 4, they had 5 the day before that, and 6 the day before that. So their epidemiology has been going down in the last 4 or 5 days. Anyway, they are in the green at the moment, one of the islands that are in there. Corfu at the moment, who are in dark red, they actually showed a drop in infections as well. The day before yesterday, they had 124. The day before that, they had 91, 65 before that, 85 before that. And today I can report they've had 88 new infections in their location. However, they are in dark red, just to point out for you there as well. Now, for Kefalonia, they had a slight increase on yesterday. They had 9 new infections on my last report, and today they are reporting 10 new infections. That island at the moment is in the yellow. As for Zakynthos, we had 26 infections reported on my last report. Today, I can report that we had 13. So our number has dropped as well. And again, our figures have been up and down with infections, and we are in amber as well. That's our epidemiology status as far as Greece is concerned. Now, when it comes to deaths at the moment, deaths have also dropped as well. Yesterday, I reported 88 deaths. The day before that, it was 104. And the day before that, it was 96. Well, today, there's been 75 new deaths across Greece from COVID. Again, none of these deaths have been attributed to the new variant. So let's make that very clear as well. That brings the total at the moment up to 18,234 deaths. 95.3% of those people had underlying diseases or were over the age of 70 years. And again, our condolences to those families that have been affected. When it comes to the ICUs, that is the only number where things seem to be on the rise again. Yesterday, I reported there were 664 people being incubated in ICUs across Greece. At the moment, that number has risen to 690. Once again, don't forget that the amount of beds that Greece has is 1,300 beds across the country to be able to treat people in ICUs. Now, at the moment of that 690, 421 are male, 269 are female. The average age of people's in ICUs at the moment is 64 years of age, and 79.9% have underlying health issues or are over the age of 70. Now, regarding critical patients in the ICUs, 550 at the moment are described as being unvaccinated or partially vaccinated, and 140 of them are fully vaccinated. Again, we're going to wait and see if they change the status of vaccinated and unvaccinated as to whether you've had the 3 jabs or whether you've had the 2 jabs, because that is what other nations seem to be adjusting, is the amount of injections. If you haven't had the booster, you are then classed as being partially vaccinated and not fully vaccinated. But I think it's early days at the moment with that, because again, they're just rolling out the 3rd booster shot here in Greece and also across the rest of Europe. Anyway, today's news then. Greek lawmakers on Wednesday approved the legislation making vaccination for COVID-19 mandatory for all residents aged over 60 to deal with the infectious surge and the emergence of the Omicron variant. Even though we haven't seen the Omicron variant here in Greece at the moment, it has still not arrived. Anyway, the draft law backed by the centre-right government, which is New Democracy, and also the centre-left opposition party, which is Syriza, but it has been rejected by all other oppositions parties and targets the country's age group that is most vulnerable to death and incubation from coronavirus. At the moment, I don't think any of the other parties have enough people within their number to be able to overturn a right-out vote, especially when you consider that the main opposition party, Syriza, is just rubber stamping whatever the government has basically decided on. So again, we're very much in the same situation as what they are in the UK. You can't rely on the Labour government to put up a proper opposition to anything that the Conservative government is doing over there. So at the moment, it's a case of we're going to probably have to suck it up and see. But we'll wait and see how it goes on. Remember, this only made its way partially through the Greek Parliament. It has not been ratified yet. That is the thing that we've got to look at. Anyway, parties that opposed the measures said it was too harsh on low-income people who don't want to be inoculated. The Prime Minister, Mitsotakis, said he reluctantly proposed the measure due to implacable facts. He says that 9 in 10 Greeks who die of COVID-19 are aged over 60. 7 in 10 incubated patients in intensive care units belong to the same age group, and more than 8 in 10 of those have not been vaccinated. Anyway, Mitsotakis said during the debate that 17% of unvaccinated people over 60 is too big a percentage to ignore. I would say just let people get on with it at the end of the day. If they want it, they should have it. If they don't want it, they should be allowed to say, I don't want it. That's it, full stop. However, he then went on to say it is beyond doubt that these people are the people who face the highest risk, he said, but it is also they who, being unprotected, are besieging the public health system, depriving treatment from thousands of other people with very serious health issues. Anyway, last month, the Greek government tightened restrictions for the unvaccinated, mandating tests for all non-essential shops, services and venues, including outdoor cafes. And officials said they have spurred a vaccination surge, but not among those over 60. So the people over 60 like myself who still just don't want it. Mitsotakis said almost 2 million vaccination appointments were made over the last 3 weeks. But out of the 580,000 unvaccinated people older than 60, only 70,000 made the first appointment. And he said, I don't care whether the measure will cost me some extra votes in elections. Oh, there we go. Politics rather than people's health there. But anyway, Mitsotakis said, I'm convinced that we are doing the right thing, and I'm convinced that this policy will save lives. Mandatory vaccination will not apply to people who have recovered from COVID-19 in the past 6 months or who have serious illness. So I'm in that bracket at the moment, but for how long that's going to last, we will wait and see. He also said conditions such as autism and epilepsy, those people are obviously not able to have the vaccine, and they are also exempt from the compulsory measure. Anyway, he said that the fines will be added to the tax bills. I knew that would happen. I'd already said that they were doing this through the summer. They know who the people are that are not vaccinated, because those people who didn't vaccinate had to put their result on their tax return. That was done voluntarily at the beginning. You had to do it yourself when you initially had your test. But later, when the government decided that you had to pay for your test, so people were less likely to go and get the free test, they then made it that the place that you went to, the test centre that you went to, they would amend your tax record with the result. So again, the tax system is being used as a means to basically find out who's vaccinated and who's not vaccinated. Anyway, the country of nearly 11 million has so far registered more than 18,000 deaths and nearly 950,000 infections from the virus, none so far from the Omicron variant. So let's get this clear. Omicron has not yet arrived in Greece. Whether it will arrive or not, it is still yet to be seen. But Jane says it probably will at some point. And of course, it probably will arrive. But anyway, at the moment, we haven't got it. The thing is that if we do get it, our problem will be concerning travel, movement to other locations like the UK, if we are now all of a sudden seen to be a red location because you now have got the Omicron variant. Doesn't matter how many cases you've got. Yesterday, Britain had 15 for a population of 60 million people. Austria and also Italy and places like that. I'm not sure what their numbers of having Omicron variant, but I don't think they're that great a number when at one point they said there was only 59 cases in the world anyway. But anyway, that's by the by. We haven't got Omicron here yet. Anyway, the Greek government has ruled out a general lockdown. Greece has imposed vaccination mandates over the summer for healthcare workers and fire service rescuers, with those failing to comply being suspended from their jobs indefinitely without pay. I'm not sure how many of those people are still indefinitely suspended and not working. I know that the health service here fired about 7,000 people in the health service, and then obviously tried to find other people to fill their jobs, even though these people had happily worked surrounded by people suffering from COVID, and one minute they're being hailed as heroes, and the next minute they're being treated as pariahs because they haven't had the vaccine. Yet they worked happily with people who were vaccinated, who were still very happy to have those people working with them who were unvaccinated. And again, now that's put the Greek health service under more pressure because they can't get the staff. And that's where they were talking, they did mobilise the private practice sector to come in and take up the slack, where they've had to lay off staff who basically didn't want the vaccine, who then decided, I'm going to walk away from my job because this is a step too far. I've been happily working surrounded by COVID infected people all through the summer. And now you're telling me I'm not safe among these people now. And I've been with them since the pandemic has started. It again doesn't, I don't know. Words lost me on that. Anyway, another interesting story that came out as well. A father refused to comply with the ongoing pandemic measures here in Greece, demanding that his son be able to attend school without wearing a mask and without displaying a negative self-test as a mandate, and was detained by police in Thessaloniki on Wednesday after initiating a lawsuit against the school. Now, according to the sources within the judiciary, the father sued members of the school staff. When the lawsuit reached the prosecutor's office, he ordered the man to be detained for frivolous litigation. All right. Now, this is the latest incident in which parents have sued their children's schools. The Supreme Court deputy prosecutor had intervened earlier in the year and asked local prosecutors to immediately investigate and prosecute if the actions of these litigating parents constitutes an offence. Now, the thing is with the law, you pay for the law, right? And if you can afford it and you can afford to get a case to actually take something to court, to be honest, I don't know the full details behind this. I know that the headline that was used was anti-vaxxer, and probably no, he's just a parent who wants the right for his child to be able to decide what is best for his child. That's to put it into that context. But on the other context, if you feel that you've got a grievance and you want to sue somebody so that you can put your point across in the eyes of the law so that you can do it, you're paying to do that. So for that prosecutor to say this is frivolous, until you see the evidence, until you see the situation, arresting the people that brings the case against, and it is obviously a case against the state and the school, I think, to be honest, that again slaps of a dictatorship and also slaps of basically, straight away that the law is not going to be independent from what the government is basically planning to do or wanting to do. And the law is always, at least in the UK, the law has always been there as a kind of mediator to see is whether they're going too far or whether maybe they're not doing enough. Anyway, also as well, another thing that came out yesterday was that unvaccinated people will only be able to procure a certificate. Unvaccinated people will only be able to procure a certificate of recent recovery from COVID-19 required to enter any indoor recreation and entertainment area if they have taken the polymerase chain reaction, or the PCR test. And this is expected to be the advice from the National Vaccination Committee. Now, the current rules stipulate that the certificate can be issued with a PCR test or a rapid antigen test, which has created many loopholes in the system. Now, recently, a pharmacist was arrested in the border regions of Evros for supplying clients with forged certificates of recent recovery, which he then registered in the National Organisation of the Public Health, IODI, which is the National Public Health System online. Now, committee experts are also mulling over shortening the validity now of the certificate, which currently stands at 6 months,
PCR tests are more expensive than rapid tests, but more accurate in detecting COVID-19. Now, I've got to be honest. I'm one of these people. I don't want to see the validity of the test shortened, to be quite honest. I'm one of those people who falls in this bracket. I know when I did my test at the end of my quarantine period, it was just a rapid test that was done, but that was enough to get me back to work. We know that people are going to abuse the system. They're going to find ways round the system. And I'm very surprised it was a pharmacy that was involved in this. I'm not going to say too much about that because obviously there might be an ongoing investigation going on, but I'm just praying now that they're not going to retrospectively turn around and say that your recent certificate of wellness or disease certificate, as it also translates as, means that my time is being cut short on that. Because again, I am prepared to wait it out and see how things progress. Anyway, also interesting when we talk about the system being used by people. The Hellenic Police Internal Affairs Division rounded up 34 police officers on Tuesday as part of a long investigation into an illegal citizenship racket that has been running here in Greece. Now, the ongoing inquiry found that the racket provided foreign nationals, most of whom had criminal records, with forged passports and IDs, with prices starting from 30,000 euros. It had been active since April the 26th, 2013, and consisting mainly of ethnic Greeks from the former USSR, police and other civil servants. Now, 20 people have been arrested, including 9 active police officers, citizens from the Protection Ministry employee, a registry officer, a lawyer, and 8 civilians. Most of the officers are reportedly connected to police stations in West Attica. In another twist on Tuesday, reports indicated that a 37-year-old Albanian man from Albanian origin murdered at a petrol station in Piraeus, which was in the district of Nicaea, on November the 16th, had been issued one of these fake IDs by the Ring to buy a business here in Greece. Now, the latest data from the National Public Health Organization pointed... Oh, sorry, this is another story. So there you go. That's an ongoing story that is happening at the moment with fake IDs, and it looks like police involved in that at the moment. Anyway, I'm not sure if you're aware of this, but yesterday was World AIDS Day, and obviously the World Health Organization was releasing its figures on HIV infections, and also the HIV infections on Greece was released yesterday as well. Now, interestingly, the latest data to come from the National Public Health Organization here was that HIV has been falling here in Greece. More specifically, in the first 10 months of this year, 402 new cases of HIV were diagnosed and reported to IODI, of which 330 concerned men and 72 concerned women. This number corresponds to 3.8 new diagnoses per 100,000, which is the lowest rate recorded in the corresponding time periods in the last decade. In 2020, 5 new diagnoses of 100,000 for populations were announced during the same period. The year before that, it was 5.1 per 100,000 population. And in 2018, there were 5.8 new diagnoses per 100,000. The most common cause of the infection in the first 10 months of 2021 was unprotected sex between men, followed by unprotected sex between men and women, which was 18.9%. Intravenous drug use and shared needles was reported as a possible cause of infection in 16.9% of new cases. So there you go. AIDS is dropping here in Greece, which is a good thing. Anyway, also just to let you know, some hot news straight off the press early this morning. Just if you're planning to go away anywhere, just to let you know that there's going to be a new 48-hour nationwide strike on ships and ferries across Greece. And that's going to start a minute after midnight on Friday, the 10th of December. And it will end on midnight of Saturday, the 11th of December. Basically, the Panhellenic Seamen's Association, the PNO, they're basically taking their rights again, that they basically are requesting salary increases, also collective bargaining agreements. They also want for the years 2020 and 2021 salary increases there, which they probably never got. But also as well, they want solutions for problems that they have, such as insurance, pensions, education, general registry of services, and unemployment benefit, and also the uninsured black labour that is also working with them as well. Not too many details about that, but these are some of the demands that they are asking for. So once again, just remind you of those dates, December the 10th and Saturday the 11th of December. So if you're going to pop over to Patra, do some Christmas shopping or something, think again. Or if you're going to try and get to the airport again, think again. You might have to fly or go earlier and just stay for a day or so up in Athens before you catch your flight. Anyway, also another local story for you. After the serious incident of the roof blowing off the second high school last Friday during the storms and the day that the tornado hit Kalamaki, it seems that the Parents Association filed a request to the president of the Municipal Council's extraordinary meeting, basically wanting to talk about problems that the school building has had. Now, at the time, they've said 3 times they've been asking for a meeting with the municipality to talk about the building, about checks on the building, and these have become fruitless. So anyway, they issued a public document yesterday which said in its communication from the Parents Association to the municipal councillors, they said, "We understand that decisions made during the meeting of the Municipal School Committee are never implemented, and unfortunately we are faced with situations and events that occur in schools, and we invoke luck every time students and teachers are in danger. Most school buildings lack building permits, while the rest have to be subject to the Arbitrary Act. All school buildings need a study and a fire safety certificate. All school buildings must be inspected for lightning protection as well." So basically, again, there's been an on-running thing with schools here. There's been a lack of investment in schools in comparison to other areas of Greek society. And basically, people want more to be done for the schools. And again, anybody who's had children in the education system here will tell you that to have a school with 2 toilets for about 400 kids is like something from the third world. The schools really do need to have a proper look at and proper investment in them as well. So again, I'll keep an eye on that little story, because again, ever since I've been here on the island, it's been the same story for years and years and years, reference the public education system here in Greece with not enough investment in the infrastructure of it. Anyway, oh, hang on a tick. Right. Oh, and finally, a nice little happy story. It looks like Pope John Paul is coming to visit Greece. And a little article that I saw this morning, which was when Pope John Paul came to Greece in May 2001, it was the first time that a Roman Catholic leader had visited the country since the Great Schism of 1054, which divided Christianity into Eastern and Western branches. That's when the Orthodox churches then arose. Anyway, when they fell out with the Catholic Church of Rome. Anyway, that visit was followed in April 2016 by Pope Francis, who travelled to Moira migrant camp on the island of Lesvos and met with the Patriarch at the time and also the Athens Archbishop. Now, Pope Francis, the Pope of the Poor, as he likes to be called, will be back for another historic visit this week, becoming the second Pope to visit Athens in this millennium, and also the second ever to visit Cyprus. Anyway, Pope Francis was born. Mario Berololi was elected Pope in March 2013 to succeed Pope Benedict XVI following his resignation a month earlier, and he was the first Jesuit to command the Catholic Church's highest office and the first Pope from the Americas, and the first to take the name Francis, a name he chose in honour of St. Francis of Assisi, signifying his intention to fight poverty and social inadequacies. After visiting the front line of the European migrants crisis in 2016, Pope Francis took 3 families of Syrian refugees back to the Vatican where they lived. However, this time he will not visit Lesvos. So again, keep an eye on that little story. Once again, for those people who are not aware, we are one of the few islands in Greece, or one of the few locations in Greece that actually does have a Catholic church, which is a bit of a hangover, I think, from the times when the island was part of the Venetian Empire. And because Greek Orthodoxy really pushed forward, this was the reason why Zakynthos never became part of the Italian Empire when that was going, and the island then became part of the Greek Empire, or part of modern Greece, shall we say. So again, interesting. He's going to Cyprus first, and then he's coming to Greece here second, and we'll see what happens. See if he's going to take anybody home with him. That'd be interesting. Right, okay, let's have a quick look. Some people tuning in at the moment. Sid James, nice to have you looking in, fella. Once again, just to remind you, Dance Anthem Show is now up online if you want to tune into that. The Northern Soul Show is also up online, and to be honest, the Dance Anthem Show is doing very well in the Mixcloud charts. Fiona Hutton, she's also tuning in as well. I can't see who else is tuning in because I've just had a deleted files box appear on my broadcast, which means I'm not sure if this broadcast is still going out or whether it is stopped. I will only find out. Oh, it's still going out. People are giving me thumbs up there. As soon as I push deleted files, I know what's going to happen. It's going to jump away, and obviously the broadcast might end. So I'm going to bang it on the head there. I'll keep my ear to the ground. If I hear of anything happening, I will let you know. Once again, just to remind you that all the podcasts go up onto YouTube. Once again, if you want to come and like and subscribe to YouTube, you can. Fiona Hutton says, I can still see you. Thank you, Fiona. It'll go up onto YouTube where you can like and subscribe, hit the bell as well, and you can obviously get notification, especially if you're somebody who doesn't watch the live broadcast and catches up later in the day. And once again, thank you for your comments as well, whether they're in favour of what I'm saying or whether they're not in favour. I like the debate. I like the fact that I can agree to disagree, and we should all be in that camp, like understanding, being respectful, agree to disagree, and see where things will take us. And then maybe we might then both agree on certain things when things unfold. But again, please, 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 agree to disagree, all right? Because I think that will make the world a smoother place. Big shout out to Ben Warner. I'm going to give you a quick call, Ben, all right? Make sure you're all right. I don't know if you're still on the school run at the moment, but nice to see you. But anyway, that's it from me. I will speak to you again soon. Catch you later. Ta-ra.